Hobo Johnson is probably one of the most polarizing artists I've come across, and that is mostly due to the breakout song Peach Scones and the raw emotion he pours into his music. A lot of the hate and disdain for the music that Hobo Johnson creates is born from a lack of understanding of the man behind the art.
I heard you used to juggle soap in jail. In exchange for 5 cigarettes you would never inhale. I used to call your mother really late at night and tell her that your loving father wasn't treating her right. But I lied, yo, he's nice. He looked as shook as Casey Anthony's baby.
Oh, damn.
I've been crying a lot lately. On a Monday, my girl looking like a Coca-Cola can. She fucking thick as can be, fib. She's my little rectangle. Drop it low as your credits go. Damn, girl.
Hobo Johnson is a band with lead singer Frank, who is a self-described normal 23-year-old guy that makes music. He was born Frank Lopez Jr. and was raised in San Jose for 5 years before moving to Loomis, California. He ended up in Sacramento at the age of 15, where he was kicked out of his local high school for behavioral problems at the age of 17. He subsequently suffered from a drinking problem that led to stints in juvenile jail. He later returned to the Loomis area, where he was kicked out of his home. This all led up to the birth of Hobo Johnson's debut album, Hobo Johnson's 1994 Toyota Corolla. Frank played at open mics and performed on the street before deciding to go to school for music and work full-time at a warehouse to pay his rent of $300. However, Frank quickly learned this wasn't making him happy and returned to street performing and open mics. He later signed to a manager, which turned out to be a huge mistake, and started a series of videos called Live from Oak Park. A year and 2 months after signing his management deal, his song Peach Scones went viral, currently sitting at 13 million views on YouTube alone. Much of the hate that can be seen on social media, especially Twitter, is all based on the fact that he makes quote-unquote sad boy music that is fake deep, and even as far as calling him an incel and textbook r/nice guys. The only other video I've seen looking at Hobo Johnson was Alpha Media's. He touches on these points but also points out some of the good things he likes about Frank's music. He describes the music as begging for attention because he's in the friend zone, is fake deep, pretentious, and the list goes on, as well as the quirky messing up shtick in his songs. A lot of the more constructive criticism is that he rips off aspects from folk punk, slam poetry, and hip-hop for his style. Even this is a cop-out criticism and a false reason for hating him, when some of the best bands and performers mix genres and push boundaries. Hip-hop is expanding and changing, and people are trying to gatekeep what can and can't be labelled hip-hop. People tend to pass him off as a talentless hack, as he can't keep a consistent rhythm and his melodies are too simple. But let's actually take a look at the music he creates and the substance behind it. His spoken word style that he uses in his music sets him apart from the standard. Taking a look at the controversial song Peach Scones, it is a conversation, or rather, a possible conversation, that plays out in Frank's head between him and a crush. He portrays the complicated relationship that they have and the hesitation he has in revealing his emotions. He later reveals the reason for his hesitation being that he doesn't want to hurt his crush. He demonstrates this intense outpour of emotion and conflicting feelings by shouting the lyrics erratically when the one-sided conversation comes to a peak. The peak in the one-sided conversations are mirrored with the rising notes in the guitar chords. The chord progression is quite simple, yes, but it is what they do with the chords to convey the message is what is impressive. The main chord progression used is G to B flat and resolving on a C, and more often than not staying unresolved on an E flat, an A flat major, an F major, or a D flat. The resolving chords line up with decisions made in the lyrics, for example in the beginning when he is asking about her boyfriend. It begins on a G chord, moving to a B flat, and finally going up a tone and resolving on a C chord. At moments of doubt or setbacks, the C chord is substituted with one of the previously mentioned chords, leaving the progression unresolved, mirroring the relationship and the conflict. Hobo Johnson is a part of the counterculture of hip-hop today. He takes rap back to its roots and emphasizes the poetry aspect in rhythm and poetry. This is evident in the way he structures his music, especially in Peach Scones, that follows a lot of the basic rules of poetry. His music has a very distinct meter, and at the peak of every conflict he inserts a line break or a pause that allows us to reflect on what was said. To contrast the viewpoint of Alpha Media, there's an article from DJ Booth entitled, "I really wanted to hate Hobo Johnson, but I couldn't." Drew describes his delivery like Michael Cera fucked a hyena, and he looks like every annoying white dude in community college creative writing class. And on the surface level, this is very true. He describes Frank as a pretentious hipster with enough quirkiness and irony to put him on the cover of Flannel magazine. It is here where the path diverges for both sides of the discussion, the haters and the fans. Frank's delivery can either sell the lyrics in a meaningful way or leave them fall flatter than they would have if performed by someone much more tame. Drew remarks that Hobo's lyrics might read like they were stolen from a depressed white girl's Instagram caption, but when you hear them out loud in his peculiar voice, sounding like he's on the brink of tears and or severely constipated, it hits you on a guttural level. Frank's cadence stops, starts, twists, and turns in a manner that is strikingly similar to performative poetry, which, depending on who you ask, can be a good or a bad thing. Drew touches on the exact same points as Alpho, depicting Frank's music as bordering on sympathy porn for closeted misogynists and self-proclaimed nice guys who whine about the friend zone, but states that he sees no ill intent in Frank's music, and most people who do are simply trying too hard to be woke. One thing is for sure, his delivery and lyrics are a very acquired taste, and that polarizes the masses, but Snoop Dogg likes him, so case closed. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a bit of a different style to what I'm used to, but I really enjoyed researching and making this video. So if you liked it, give it a like. If you want to see more like this, subscribe. And leave a comment in the comment section down below on what you'd like me to cover next, whether it's an artist or a topic or anything. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.